Warning, I swear a lot.
Hi, and welcome to something a little different, I guess. I don't even know how to start this. I should really write a script, but I don't. The title of the video says it all, I suppose, so I'll go from there. To put it bluntly, today I wanted to discuss depression. I wanted to discuss the stigma behind it. I wanted to discuss how it's just not... It kind of is openly discussed nowadays, to be honest. Like, we've made huge strides over the last however many years to make it a more socially acceptable topic, but there's still a lot of hesitance in everyone, especially me, to talk about this sort of thing, just because it's difficult. It is a hard thing to address. It's a hard thing to discuss. My goal for this video, as small an effect as I'm sure it will have, will purely be attempting to talk about this just to help to minimize the stigma, the difficulty of discussing depression in the first place, purely by the basis that having someone else say it will make it more common. It's not the best thought out thing I've ever done, but it's something I felt like I needed to do. So going into this video, I thought to myself, there are numerous ways I could go about presenting this. I could try and offer advice, I could try and say some motivational or insightful opinions, or discuss methods I've used to keep myself as a somewhat productive person. But thinking about it, there's nothing I could say that you would not hear elsewhere. Truly, I do not believe that I am possessed of such unbelievable, insightful wisdom that there is anything I could tell you that you have not heard somewhere else. There are so many people doing a good job here on YouTube talking about this subject and trying to help people, and I just don't feel I have anything to add in that respect. What I figured out I should do instead, and I really don't want to do this at all. I really don't. It goes against every fibre of my being, which is kind of the point, actually, of why this needs to happen, is talk about my own experiences. To simply talk about it. Simply put that information forward and be like, there's nothing wrong with discussing this. Despite the fact that I have sit here physically squirming at having to talk about it, but that is precisely why it's an issue, and precisely why I should sit here right now and tell you about it. If you're not interested, that's fine. I don't presume anyone will be interested. I'm not presenting this video to talk about myself, as weird as it sounds, because I am going to be talking about myself. But that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it so that other people can talk about themselves. Really. It's strange. It's very roundabout, but I promise you that is my intention going into this. I don't want to share much about myself in general, because it's just not who I am. I don't know. That's not how I do. I'm having a lot of trouble. I think the best way to combat my own uncomfortableness is to just go into it. So, about a week ago, just over a week ago at time of recording, I turned to 27. Yay. I first realised I had depression when I was 16. So we're looking at a solid 11 years, which is a healthy amount of time. And we're fast approaching the point at which it will have been half my life. In fact, it might already be half my life, because I realised I had it at 16. I know I had it for a while before then, but at 16 was the point where I sat down and was like, it's not normal to be this unhappy for this long. Pretty sure there's a problem here. And sure enough, there was. The difficult thing about discussing such a thing, alongside the, of course, rather intense emotional aspects of it, is, funnily enough, just identifying it, figuring out what the problems are, if there even are problems. Depression is illogical. You could have everything and be miserable. It doesn't make sense. But in many cases, there are reasons why people have the condition. It doesn't come from nowhere. But in many cases, it also does. But for me, there are reasons. There are many. Obviously, given the age that I was when I got it, I was in school at the time. And obviously had been for several years. I was just on my way out when I realised that I had depression. And a lot of it stemmed from school. It really did. Like, it was not a good time. I had and have a lot of social issues. A lot of social inadequacies, I suppose. I'm not good at talking. Ironic, given the show. I should say more specifically, I'm not good at talking to people directly. And obviously, being in school and being a quiet nerd who doesn't like to talk to people, it's not a great environment for that. It's not. I don't think I'm blowing anyone's minds by revealing that, and I'm sure many people watching have had similar experiences. While I've made massive strides in making up for my own social inadequacies, it's still a problem to this day, and it affects me to this day. A lot of the time when I'm with people, and this is a mindset I've had to fight for a very long time, I often act like I'm not there. You know? I'll be in a room with people, and I'll just sort of, I don't see myself as being there. I see myself as an observer half the time. I'm just watching a conversation take place. Occasionally, I will contribute in some manner, but for the most part, if I'm with a group of people, the larger the group of people, the more likely this will be a thing. I will simply sit back. I am an observer, I'm not really there, and I don't even see myself as there, and as a result of such, I don't see other people as seeing me as being there. So for other people, it's kind of strange that I'm just sat there. But temporarily, and obviously I realize it's not true when I actually stop and think, but I don't even consider them as knowing I'm there. I'm just there. I just exist. That's it. And when I say goodbye and I walk out the door, I cease to exist. That is pretty much my perspective on it, and it's something I've been fighting for a very long time. Because that mindset does no one any favors. It doesn't do me any favors, and it doesn't do the people I'm talking to and interacting with any favors. Because it's very difficult for me to talk to people, sure, but it took a long time for me to realize that it might actually be quite difficult for other people to talk to me because of how I am, because of how I act, because I'm just making it more difficult for other people to engage with me. I don't message people first. Half the time, I don't greet people. If I walk into a room or someone else walks into the room, I won't greet them because I don't want to bother them. I'm like, maybe they're just coming in to pick something up and they're about to walk straight back out. No point pressing them into a conversation if that's all they're going to do. I'll just, keep doing my thing. And then as a result, they have to then be the one to greet me. And then if they perhaps, have a similar thing as I do, or they just don't greet me, then it just feels awkward. And it also just seems like I'm ignoring them, which is terrible. And the last impression I want to give off in any situation. But it happens a lot. Not to mention, depriving yourself of conversation just kind of... you're not getting any better at it if you're not doing it. But the reason I've gone off on this tangent is because this is, I imagine, as much as one can identify these things, a big source for why I have depression. It's because I don't know. In any social situation, I always feel like I'm operating on a significantly lower level than everyone else. It's going into a match of Tekken with a 50% handicap. You could be good at it, but you're at a severe disadvantage no matter what you do. You can be it, you can totally be it, but it's not easy. A lot of the time I feel like I'm apart from the people around me, and a statement like that sounds like, oh yes, you feel you're on a higher level, do you? No, I feel like I'm on a lower level, 100%. I feel like the people around me are just more capable, more competent. They're better at living. That's the weirdest thing. It's hard for me to wrap my head around and hard for me to discuss it, is that they're actively better at being alive than I am. And that could be entirely in my head, 100%. And it's likely they don't even feel that way. But that's how it feels to me. It's that people around me are just better at functioning. And I have trouble with it. It feels like meeting what other people do regularly is a struggle. I have to put the extra effort in to match them, let alone to maybe even do better on certain occasions. I have to put in a ridiculous amount of effort just to be on par. And that's tricky. That is tiring, more to the point. That is very tiring. I am an introvert. Being an introvert is not... It used to be a source of my misery, as it were. It's not anymore. I've accepted who I am as an introvert, and I am perfectly happy with being an introvert. There is nothing wrong with being an introvert. I get tired after interacting with people for too long, likely also due to some of the things I just previously mentioned. I value my alone time, and I've come to realize there's nothing wrong with that at all. That is just how some people are. But the effects of being an introvert, of course, makes social interaction more difficult and makes it more tiring. So I'm having to put in, especially in social situations, I'm having to put in even more effort to just match the people around me. That's hard. That's really hard. It's not as if I'm thinking about it actively at the time. I'm only coming to a lot of the conclusions I'm coming to right now because I don't script these fucking videos. I should. God, I should. But I don't. I improv my way through, and I realize things along the way. Love or hate my videos, this is kind of how I operate, and I've always operated. This channel for 3 years, and the previous channel for, I think, was 3 years as well, I don't remember. Something about this, which is both a source of positivity and negativity for me, is that I know I'll make it out the other side. I will not lose. I can't accept losing, not on this respect. I can accept losing in a game, for instance, because that's a learning experience, but I will not lose in this respect, because there is no... You can't lose. I don't want this to be dark. I'm just saying. I cannot perceive that. That is not a possibility for me. The implication of losing in this context is not an option. I can't even remember what my point was going into that. Oh my god. This is it. This is exactly it. This is why we all struggle with this so much. It's because we don't talk about it. If we talked more and removed the stigma and the difficulty of talking about such things, we would be able to talk about it more clearly and concisely. It's the fact that we don't talk about these things that makes it so hard to articulate it. This is exactly why we need to talk about it more. Because fucking you've sat there and watched me sit here and be a rambling mess for I don't know how long, because editing. I have a very, very mediocre editor willing to put in the work on this to make it bearable to watch. It's me. This is precisely why it needs to happen. This is precisely, or at least in my mind, this is precisely why I need to make this video. Once again, I am talking about myself, but it's not about me. This isn't about me. It's not for me. It's I hope, for a greater purpose. It is to try and just do my part, if nothing else, just a little bit more, to dig away at this mountain of an issue that we face as a society. One of many, but there aren't enough hours in the day to get around to everything. I can only tackle what I can tackle, preferably something I have some, or at least feel I have some insightful knowledge about. I experienced this firsthand. We do need to talk about things such as Black Lives Matter, because the fundamental right of a human being to live their life free of discrimination is very important. And I'm happy to talk about that, but it's difficult to do so due to my lack of personal experience. But hey, I just mentioned it, so I guess that's a start. But that needs to be talked about more. The right for a woman to walk home at night without having to clench her keys between her knuckles. Difficult for me to talk about because I don't have first-hand experience, but important to talk about. I want to address these things and at least say that sure, I'll probably talk about them at much more length in the future. I think, of course, they are worth talking about. But I'm taking this moment to discuss something I have a bit more experience and insight about. Purely because I've lived with it for so long. And so many of us have. Hundreds of thousands of people. It's not uncommon. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I made a note to myself before I started recording to mention this. This is not a boo-hoo Paul Foreman video. It's not. Telling you everything I'm telling you right now is not, it's not like this has just happened to me. It's not as if, you know, I've sat here and gone, oh no, I've been depressed for this long and had social issues and I never realized. I know. I fucking know. I've lived with it. 11 years. At least. It's not about me. I'm only presenting this information about myself to help you or anyone you know who may struggle with this to present information about themselves, to show them that there is nothing wrong with it. Talk to anyone. If you can get a psychiatrist, great, you should do that. I haven't because I'm a twat, but you should. But failing that, talk to someone, talk to anyone. I'm lucky, I have a very good support network. I have a loving family, I have a wonderful group of friends, people like Sweetman or Owen or Georgie. I have 2 people called Will who would support me if I went to talk to them. That's pretty impressive. Alex, he's there too. Perhaps I'm not as close to them, but like Aiden and Bex would probably listen to me as well. If I went up to him and was like, hey, I'm having problems. Zoe, of course. And there are so many more. There are so many more. I'm sitting here, the only reason I started listing off so many names is because if any of them watched this, I didn't want them to feel left out. But sitting here, rattling off names that most of you guys won't know is pointless. The point is, I have a great support network. I don't like having depression, but I'm not at any risk, as it were. I'm in a manageable state. It's been a little worse recently, which is why I think it's kind of what sparked me to actually do this video. Because the difficult thing is, of course, is that you live with this condition, and you know, it sucks, but humans, by their very nature, are incredibly adaptable. You learn to live with things. That's not always a good thing. Sometimes something you've learned to live with is something you should be learning to get rid of, and perhaps I should be doing that more. But at the very least, you can learn to function with something. But the problem is, of course, that life throws you blindsides, like breakups and deaths in the family. 2 things of which are kind of relevant to me at the moment. But I've learned to manage. I will be okay. And like I've said, I'm not going to lose. I won't lose this fight. No way. No way in hell. It's not a strength of my character. It's not. It's nothing that makes me any better or more capable than anyone else. It's my own stubbornness and own unwillingness to admit defeat. That's it. Also, the fact that I have such a good support network. I know that if things go really bad for me, there are people I can rely on. And that knowledge, without even making use of that resource, as it were, to really make that sound, I don't know, but you know what I mean. That is available to me, therefore I don't need it. It's weird, but it makes sense. Just the knowledge that that is there is enough for me. I don't need any more than that. I might need more than that in the future, but that's the whole point. It feeds itself. Knowing that I have that if I need it, and I don't need it now, makes me feel better. It's a safety net, essentially. It's a cushion. It feels good. But there are a lot of people out there, so many, who don't have such strong support systems, safety nets, and the like. There are a lot of people out there, perhaps in communities or families where such a thing carries the full stigma with which we've seen it be treated with for so many years, who just kind of have adapted because that's what we do as humans, but, you know, it's hard. It's harder for them because they know they can't turn to people around them and be like, yo, I'm having a really tough time. As for as little as I'm sure it's worth, because there's nothing I can say to you that will suddenly change your life or anything, but if you're having problems, shoot me an email. I don't know, I'll add you on, like, we can add each other on, what the fuck is it called? I almost never use it. Itch.io. What the fuck is, not Itch.io, what is it called? Discord, that's it, Discord. See, I never use Discord. But my point, before I let my stupidity ruin the moment, is that if you're having problems, shit dude, talk to me, right? I'll do what I can. I can't promise I'm gonna turn things around for you, but I'll listen. Fuck it, we can play a game or something, I don't know. I'll make time if you show up in my inbox. I'll try. I think my email's in the about for this channel, so if you're like, fuck it, what have I got to lose? Let's have a chat with Foreman. Go there. Or drop a comment. Or anything. It depends how privately, I guess, you want to contact me, whatever. Tumblr. I have a Tumblr. Ask me anonymous questions. Or not anonymous questions. Or send me a message. Tell me whether you want my response to be private or not. I don't know. Fucking, there are methods. I'm here. For as little as that's worth, I am here. And if you don't have a support network, I will do my best to be your support network. Once again, I can't stress how little value there is in my support because I'm not particularly insightful. I don't have any resources, broke as fuck. But for what little it's worth, I am here. I've been talking for quite a while, and I suppose it would be worth rounding this off before it gets too long-winded. It's probably already too late for that, do apologise. But I think how much I struggled today to actually convey my feelings and talk about my own experiences is precisely why I had to. Not just for my sake, although I do feel that this may help me a bit, but for everyone's sake. This needs to become more, this discussion, this topic, this conversation, if you want to call it this is, needs to be more common. We need to talk about it. You need to be able to, we need to get to the point where you can literally go up to one of your mates at work and be like, oh, I'm just having a really fucking rough day, man. I just can't motivate myself. And have them be like, yeah, I understand, that's rough. Like, you know, if you need anything, I'm here for you. That simple. It doesn't, discussions, I guess what I'm trying to get to is that discussions about depression do not need to be these big life-changing moments where you have to take a deep breath, go to the people you know and be like, I have this, and have it be like you just told them you have cancer. Because I find that having that announcement be so big makes it more difficult to do it. Like in a weirdly relative note, I hate telling people when I've had a breakup. I hate doing it. I hate doing it. It might, as weird as it sounds, it might be my least favorite part about having a breakup. Like, doing it recently, there are so many people who don't know I'm single now because I didn't tell them. Because I hate that conversation so much. I just want to get it over with. I'm just like, oh yeah, me and such aren't together anymore. But then it never ends quickly because, bless their hearts, the people around you are so caring and want to make sure you're all right, that they're like, oh no, I hope you're okay. Oh, I'm so sorry, what happened? They show interest because they care. It's not even a bad thing. But I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm just like, can we get on with this? I don't want to talk about it. It's going to make me sad. Let's just move on, right? I'll process it in my own time. I have different methods for coping with things, I guess. I prefer to cope in my own time. If things get really bad, yes, I'll have a few drinks with friends and then just sit there and be miserable the whole evening. But that's just how I cope with things. But my point, because God, I do love to go on a tangent, a waffle has many rivets, is that this needs to not be a big conversation anymore. It needs to not be a big moment. You go to tell people or even infer that you suffer from this. It needs to be able to be discussed casually. Because discussing something casually, you'd be surprised how much more can be achieved through just not overthinking something, you know, like being able to talk about something without trying to be very careful exactly how you convey it and what you're trying to say. This entire video would have been so much easier if I could have just talked about it normally. But then again, if I could, I probably wouldn't have made the video because it wouldn't have been video worthy. I'm sorry for how much of a mess this video has been, because it has been truly a mess. I had no focus, I wavered from topic to topic. I don't know, I only hope the editing cleans it up a bit, but that's my responsibility for later on. Let me know what you think, let me know your thoughts. If, once again, our goal here is to normalize this discussion, to make this not something where you have to pour your heart out and go against your very nature to just discuss it, where you can just talk and be like, yeah, I've been dealing with it for a while, it sucks, and I'm doing the best I can, and have the people around you be like, that sucks, I've been going through it too, I hope it goes well for you, I'm doing my best as well, we can do our best together. Just not like you bring it up and the entire room goes quiet, you know? I think that's what I'm trying to achieve here. But once again, let me know what you think. If you have problems, reach out to me, we'll have a casual conversation about it. I'm not gonna, you know, you can just message me and be like, yo, I have depression, can we chat? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, and we'll chat. It doesn't even have to be about depression, is my main point. We can just chat. You got a favorite video game? Tell me. There a film you like? Let me know. Do you hate my videos? Leave so many swear words in my inbox, and get it off your chest. If you like my videos, kindly let me know. I don't know. I've not even planned that out either. I've literally decided I'm going to do it, and I will do it. If you message me, I shall. If I get 1 million, which I highly doubt because I have 89 subscribers, so I'm small enough that such an offer can be made seriously, knowing that I would have the time to get around to talk to people. But you don't have to do it, but keep it in mind, keep it under consideration. But either way, I am rambling now. It's the end part of the video where I have trouble wrapping things up, so I'm just gonna do it now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought, talk to me if you need to, and let's do what we can to just make this less of a problem. Well, I don't think we'll ever truly beat it, but we can at the very least minimize it. But whatever happens, and whatever I do next time, and I might do more vlogs like this again because it's been a while, but forcing myself to do them, you've run out of things to talk about. I'm not that interesting, but whatever I do next time, I hope I see you there. Doodles. Goodbye.